everyone. Thank you all for being here. So I was just talking with my guest backstage, and we still don't know what we're going to talk about today, but that's okay. We thought about having him write a post just live for us and see how that goes, see what his process is. But we're still trying to think of a hook for it. So y'all know James, and I'm going to bring James out because there's really not much more I can say about him. Hey, man.
What an intro. I don't think I've ever had a better intro in my life. You all know James.
Yeah, you all know James. You all know James. Here he is.
Here I am.
Yeah, live and in the flesh, man.
Yeah. So
we had some technical difficulties beforehand trying to get audio worked out. So if it kind of wigs out on us, y'all bear with us.
Most people know, as long as it's not a cookbook. I did have a. We're not gonna go there.
Right.
So yeah, for those who don't know, the audio story is I live in the woods. I got internet actually maybe 4 months ago. So I didn't even have internet before that. That's how much in the woods.
Wow.
So yeah, so the fact that we're even able to do this is kind of amazing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was telling you beforehand, I live in the woods too, and it's basically a glorified hotspot.
Yep.
But it runs on like enterprise levels, waves or something, the way it was described to me, and it's okay, like barely okay. But the upload speeds are terrible, so there would be no way on earth I could ever try streaming anything live from the house.
Yeah.
Who is that? Who is LinkedIn user?
That's that one person that uses LinkedIn.
That one person that uses LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's the one.
Not the one. Come up on the LinkedIn side yet. There's a lot. Yeah.
So I made a post yesterday. Mm-hmm. Asking what we should talk about, and you all never cease to not let me down.
Yeah.
So the suggestions we got were feet and discussing Amy, but she's not here, right? So I don't think
she's not. But I'm fixing to tell her. We're about to talk about you. She had a bunch of meetings today, so I don't know if she's gonna.
What could be more important is what I want to know.
Yeah, Sabine. Hey, it is Sabine. I see that now.
So do we want to talk about what we just learned in the past 5 minutes?
Yeah, we can.
Before this started. Okay, so somebody said feet. This is how my process works. If anyone wants to know, it works a lot better if you have ADHD. I'm just gonna start there. So it came into feet. We're gonna talk about feet. I'm like, oh, we should look at weird feet things. So there's like the gimmies are like foot odor, right? Which actually, there's an upcoming post you'll see about truffle oil is actually closer to gasoline than oil from truffles. So truffles, like the fancy mushrooms, super rare, super expensive, hard to find. So if you like truffle fries, like I like truffle fries, you're actually eating a petroleum byproduct that is made with, it's like an acidic concentration of petroleum and formaldehyde, which is of course what they use for dead bodies and stuff.
Right.
To simulate the truffle smell, and the chemical that they like get out is basically the primary component in foot odor and the secondary component in farts. So I had to, of course, say farts once on screen. So
you just have a random thought and then you like do some research on it, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a few. I mean, and there are some sources. So sometimes I'll just Google like interesting random facts. There is a guy who I'm not going to be able to find fast enough on TikTok who just has some hilarious, like interesting fact type stuff. There was a guy on TikTok who had awesome animal facts. If you read the Oatmeal, like the Oatmeal has some super hilarious animal facts and cartoons. So that's where I got the anglerfish. They have a really good one on wombats. And then there's a lot of good podcasts too. So there is The Weirdest Thing I Learned This Week, which is, oh gosh, Kenneth. The Weirdest Thing I Learned This Week, which is these pop sci writers for popular science who they find things that they don't publish in the magazine. And so they'll just talk about that. The other one, it's called "There's No Such Thing as a Fish," which is an absolutely hilarious podcast that has a bunch of random facts.
Okay.
So we said feet, which made me wonder how many people are born with 6 toes. So this is like the ADHD part that comes out. And so
Yeah.
what Chris and I learned behind the scenes is that there's something called polydactyly that occurs in 1 in 1,000 births that has like 6 toes. You're born with 6 fingers or 6 toes, and it's found more frequently in the African American population, occurring in 1 in 150. So 1 in 150 people, African American people, are born with either 6 fingers or 6 toes. Like not just 6, but like a 6.
Right.
Isn't that nuts?
That is
So like
nuts.
everything's interesting. Like how cool would that be?
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's twice as common among men. That's probably the XY chromosome thing, right? Like we're missing the legs, so therefore we start off a little handicapped,
Right.
then develop from there. No, and I actually have a cousin who joined the Peace Corps and went out to, I don't remember where exactly in Africa, and married a man from Africa and brought him back. And it's amazing because he spoke no English, and now he's like a CPA, and like, I mean, he really like applied himself. It was epic. But they had kids, and the kid had a 6th finger. It looked like a little like floppy nub. There was no bones in it. Cut that off.
So when I was a teenager, there was a couple that went to our church that had a baby, and she was born with 6 fingers on each hand, right off her pinky. And it was floppy like that, like it was floppy. And so they took her to the doctor. I mean, she was born in the hospital, but after she was a couple of weeks old, they put a band.
Obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean,
we get 2 babies at home. Why do you go to where people die to have a baby?
I know. Yeah, well, she was born in a hospital. I think, she might have been born at home. That was kind of a big thing back in the 90s in my church.
Hey, man, I still do that.
Yeah, right on. My mom was actually a midwife for a little while.
Hey.
But they put a band on it like they do.
You can stop there. I get it.
Julie
knows. Do that with umbilical cords. Right?
Put a band on it. Julie knows what we're talking about. We want a banjo. We do want a banjo.
We had so much trouble with the audio that I don't know.
Excuses. Like you could just use the mic on your laptop.
Mic on the laptop.
Like, don't you have like a built-in mic on your?
Do you think, like, seriously though, you think I like keep a banjo, like just in case I want to play or something?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't. No, I don't keep a banjo with me.
No. Yeah, we can hear that.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, the thing about banjos, people don't understand how versatile a banjo is. That's my problem with banjo. People think there's only one thing you can do, which is like the traditional banjo.
Mm-hmm.
But it can do a lot more than that. So, for example, traditional banjo. Okay, so if we wanted to be like, maybe you like classical music. Here's a classical adaptation on banjo. See? For the metalheads, you want something a little more metal? See, so there's really a lot you can do with the banjo.
I don't know, man. It's all sounded the same to me.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. It does both types of music. It does country and Western.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Country and Western.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with each other.
No, it's just country and Western. Those are the two. Those are the two main ones. So we officially moved on from feet
to the versatility of the banjo.
Yeah, because I was wondering if we do like a high 6. That's when you get into the hook. Like, how do you get someone to read something about six toes or 6 fingers?
Anybody have any suggestions on a hook for a post with 6-toed people or 6-fingered people?
See, this is what's fun for me. Like, you could do a couple things. You could either do like something clever, like the high 6, and then find an appropriate gift to match, which would be nearly impossible, probably.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be inappropriate, you could do the like, do you have a 6th finger? Are you happy to see me kind of thing, which we're not going to go there. You could, what else could we do? Sometimes you could just straight up call it out. play the banjo with this guy. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. I would, but the picks don't fit.
Just use your toenails.
Oh my gosh. I keep them trimmed. Keep them like I
Okay.
keep my eyebrows trimmed.
Trimmed. Yeah. Did you trim your eyebrows beforehand, or was that just talk? Let's see.
I have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Very
I
nice.
found, someone's going to screenshot that, and I'm going to instantly regret that later.
Yeah, I know, right? I wish somebody might be watching on Twitch.
Yeah.
If there's somebody on Twitch, screen grab that for me or clip
Are they
that for
going
me.
back? Can you go back and rewind it on Twitch? Somebody's going to do it
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. I feel every once I have normal eyebrows as much as anybody's normal eyebrows, but then I get like one or two of them get squirrely and
Oh,
they'll
I
like
do
grow
too.
out, like you could
Yes.
braid them, they come
Yes.
like shoulder length. So
Yes.
yeah, every time I go to the barber or the wife, every once in a while, like sneak attack me with scissors and take care of it, and I appreciate it. So.
Yeah, I have them that do that. Like mine are not just terribly bushy, but there'll be two or three on each side that get dark and long and thick, and they just kind of get like little antennas. So I have a little trimmer. I take care of it.
I see it as a benefit because you're walking around at night and you like can't see where you're going, and really they're kind of what saves you.
Yes, Dana, you can. Hi, Dana. Yeah, I had a buddy that had like his eyebrows, all of them were that long, like terribly long. And we used to tell him, Mario, man, go trim those things. And no, like he would not do it. And them suckers stuck out. Like he was proud of them things. He wore them like a trophy.
Yeah. I like so Alex said if you don't like it, if you don't like it, then you should have put a ring on it. I was thinking I actually used that for my wife when she loses her phone, so this will help with the dad jokes and Brit. When she loses her phone but her phone's on vibrate, and I said, well, if you like it, you should put a ring on it. But I hate that though, because it's like we do that when we figured out how to like Google call. It was like it saved our marriage because what happens is my wife loses her phone like anywhere between 10 and 1,000 times per day. And it's literally like, all right, everyone be quiet. We got to call mom's phone. Everyone be quiet. We try to get like a house of like 4 kids, all under 10 to be quiet.
Just so you can listen to a phone go.
Oh my gosh. Shut up, everybody. And then we run around the house trying to find the phone. Because, of course, it's on like, oh, well, it was on silent. I'm like, well, why am I calling it? Anyway.
Why didn't you just leave it on leave it on Audible or whatever? I'm not on silent.
Oh, I get it. Alex was saying for the sixth finger.
If you don't like it, you should have put a ring on it.
Should have put a ring on it.
Oh.
There you go.
A Beyonce reference.
Don't like it. I get it now.
Put a ring on it to kill it. The band.
You could write a whole post about things you put rings on to help them fall off. Short post. Get it? That might be a worse suggestion than the cookbook.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, where did you even see that cookbook, dude? I got
that was somebody asked a question. It was a very fair question. How do you come across said cookbook? That was actually the No Such Thing as a Fish podcast.
Okay.
It's actually worse. The whole conversation, I highly recommend it. But if you read it, then you're going to be like, oh, all Jim does is repackage There's No Such Thing as a Fish podcast because it's been my jam lately. Basically, scientists are figuring out how to transport semen because you have to sometimes for tests with rats and with sorry for everybody who's at work. I use the official scientific term. It's not inappropriate. It's science.
Right.
They were trying to transport it from place to place because every once in a while you have a mouse sample or a monkey sample and you're doing some testing. So you need to transport it somewhere. So they tried cryogenic freezing and then they tried shipping it in test tubes and trying to do all this stuff. But it's fragile, it's breakable, it's heavy. So somebody in Japan just tried to like put it on a postcard and like use a piece of plastic up against it and like send it through like the normal mail and see if it would survive. So if you get viable semen on the way out, and it turns out the recipient did. So I thought about doing this is probably one that I will never post, but I thought about doing a post about it because it's hilarious because there are so many men sending creepy DMs. I'm like, I have a solution. I'm like, no. We don't need postcards.
That shit'll happen too, man. Holy cow.
So what they do, I know. So that's why I'm like, this is a bad idea. There's just no good can come of this. So I actually thought that post would bomb. Anyway, so all right, if you listen, the interesting thing about No Such Thing as a Fish versus the Pop Sci one, the weirdest thing I learned this week.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing I learned this week, each host has a random fact and they don't tell anybody else ahead of time. And I actually had a podcast for a little bit and I did similar. So we would do the past, present, and future of some kind of technology or some object, and we wouldn't tell the other person ahead of time. And why it's cool is because you don't have to do as much homework. So if it was my week to present something, my co-host didn't have to do anything, which is convenient. So we did it because we're lazy, but it turned out to be a cool effect. Because
Right.
Your co-host is learning and answering questions the same time as everybody else.
Right.
So, and there's no such thing as a fish. They all kind of do research ahead of time. So someone came with the stat of like, you can send semen on a postcard, which we'll absorb that for a minute. All right, that was the wrong word. But so somebody else came in with that cookbook, and I actually knew because of the podcast the dude launched the reviews were so good. It was like I couldn't put it down. No, literally, it's too sticky. Then somebody else mentioned that he made a drink cookbook too. And one of the reviews is like it's just normal, like a normal bartending cookbook. It's just there's semen in every recipe. I don't really know what you were expecting, but anyway, yeah. So I thought that was the one that would get me banned and kicked off for sure. But it actually didn't, so I was okay with it. Yeah, that's where I found that one.
Yeah, that is hilarious. Followers Britt Crawford has on TikTok and percent of people that have that number of toes.
But what percentage of people have 6 toes and follow Britt Crawford on TikTok? That's what I want to know.
Well, out of the 11 people, probably nobody. Kenny said, "What have you been smoking today?"
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if we should just bail on the 6 toes thing. It is interesting to me. It's polydactyly. Which to me sounds like a dinosaur.
It does sound like a dinosaur.
So there's also some play there. But
yeah.
I just think it's interesting. It's way more common. So here's what I wish existed. And if anybody knows, this would be very helpful for me. I want something that compares like 1 in 1,000. Like how many things are 1 in 1,000? Or how many things are more than 1 in 1,000 or less than 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10? You know, like every 1 in 3, you have a 1 in 3 chance of winning something under your cap of like Sprite. You know what I mean? I want to list because I come across things like for example, we just said 1 in 150 African American people are born with 6 fingers or 6 toes.
Right.
I want to compare that to something hilarious, but I need someone to put together because I don't have time to put together that thing that has like 1 in 150 have this, 1 in 100 have this, 1 in 200 have this. You know, for all the key landmarks, you can compare it to something. You know.
That's interesting.
Make any sense?
Yeah. So you want somebody to write your post for you?
No, not that. Well, yeah, I would publish that in heartbeat. But I come across, you know, you're like how many? All right, let's go look because I know this is a thing. Like, how many people are killed by cows each year?
Julie, do you know that one? Are you still watching? How many people are killed by cows each year?
I think she told me. Like
she probably does.
Each year, cows kill 20 people, and I've heard this: cows kill more people than sharks. How many people are killed by? This is what happens. So you guys are just playing on my superhero ability of ADHD and to learn how I come up with topics. So 1 in 10, an average of 10 from 1 in 10. 1 in 10 people will be killed by a shark. Totally different number. 10 people are killed by sharks every year. 20 people are killed by cows each year. Mosquitoes kill 1 million people each year. So you know what I mean? Like, that's a great stat. So you are more likely to be born with 6 fingers than to be killed by a cow. I guess that's not really that exciting. Well, no, it is, though. Well, no, it's not, because it's 1 in 150. Anyway, welcome to my madness, right? This is bad.
This is awesome.
For this, and I don't want it at all.
So it's like, this is your creative process, y'all. We are watching James's or Jim's. You go by Jim, right?
Yeah, there's a fun fact behind that. People get angry about it, but I go by either. Why I am James on LinkedIn is because Jim Laurain is actually my father.
Okay, yeah.
So if you go follow, and he's Jim Laurain Jr., and Jim Laurain Sr. is the one that we just literally drove a van from Michigan to Florida to steal him out of a hospital and drive him back to Michigan. Like, total like Ocean's 11 old person edition.
Okay.
We did that a couple months ago. That was Jim Sr.
I remember
that. I do have a Jim the 4th, who is the son. So that's what's hard, because actually in my family, I am. I don't want to say what I am. Big Jim was always Grandpa Jim. Jim Senior was always Grandpa Jim. And then my dad became Big Jimmy. Which therefore, so if Grandpa and Dad are in a room, then it was, which Grandpa passed away recently, but if it was not because of the van ride, if we were in the same room,
straight up Ocean, it was the kidnapping. It wasn't the van ride; it was the kidnapping beforehand.
No, because then we did talk about that though. We're like, if he, I mean, it could happen. He could pass away when we're driving him up to Michigan, and then we're like, we got to totally weekend at Bernie's him up there because it's illegal to cross a state line with a dead body. But it's like, what if he died in Kentucky? You know what I mean?
Dude, this is not fun. I'm not laughing at your grandpa dying, but that's a crazy conversation to be having. Like,
no,
for real.
I'm actually writing a story about this, about the whole experience. So it was more exciting than the moose story. Slim Jim, thank you, Eric. I've been called Slim Jim many times in my life, but I'll prefer that to obese Jim. So
yeah, right.
So I got a call from my dad. And he said, and this is the short version, I got a call saying we got to rescue Grandpa from the hospital. The hospital was terrible because they let him fall out of the bed a few times, and then they let him fall out. Then they dropped him again, and it turns out of a wheelchair. And then they said they wanted to do brain surgery on him because he had a brain bleed, but the brain bleed had stopped, and he wasn't in pain. It was like a whole messed up story. So all of that to say, not to get into the sadness of it, my dad's like, we're going to break him out of a hospital. So we found this like angel of a lady who was a hospice nurse. And so basically she arranged with the hospital to get him to release to hospice. And then when they wheeled him to her, she like gave him to us and we stuffed him in a van and drove him across the country. and people think, I won't get into it, but people think it's like, oh, no big deal. You have your grandpa and he's in a, you put him in a van and you drive him across the country. But at the time he had COVID. Or at least they said he did. He didn't have any symptoms of it. And I rode in a van with him for 20 hours and I didn't get any symptoms of it. Yeah. He had diabetes. He had COPD. He had, what else he had? He had like 8 million things. So it ended up with us, without getting into it too much, it ended up with my cousin who grew a mullet for some reason, like in a white shirt. We're in a Walmart parking lot, and I'm like stuffing an air mattress under my grandpa who's in a hospital gown in the back of a van and like inflating it. And I'm like, this is what people in Walmart were made of. Like, this is like literally, if somebody drove by, here's a dude with a mullet, like with an open van, like shoving around like an old person in a hospital gown. Like, by the way, I don't know if people tuned in for this conversation.
This is awesome.
Is this what happened? Anyway, yes. Yeah. So I got to administer morphine a couple times. That was fun. Never did that before. I read the instructions like 16 times. I went without sleep for about 36 hours.
Did y'all drive straight through?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, we're not stopping. Why on earth are we stopping? The other thing is, like, people are horrible to move. Like, I got mad props for hospital staff because to move a person, like to pick them up and move them, is like impossible.
Yeah.
My grandpa's 6'4" and 200 and something, and I had to like hold him, like for a while. And I'm not necessarily weak, but holy cow, it's not a thing. So yeah. So the moral, I have to end this happily. We got him up here. He was totally alive, but it was a conversation I never even thought about. My dad's like, if he dies in the car, what do we do? We got to do that whole like, hey officer, like, gotta do. Isn't that was Toy Story, right? We're gonna have to do one of those things, because it's like, what again? If he dies in Kentucky, what are we all gonna stop in Kentucky? And then are they gonna be like, what are you doing with this guy in your van? Like, nothing ends well.
And then, so what was the story once you got back? If he had died on the way, what were you going to tell like Michigan officials?
So can I go to jail for this?
Dude, I don't know.
So the plan was nothing happened. So that was the good part. He made it here safely. And I will say too, it was cool because a lot of my family couldn't visit him because he was in Florida. Mm-hmm. But once we got him to Michigan, he made it. He lasted for 3-4 weeks, I think. And then we heard from everyone. All of our family members were so grateful because they were able to see him the last time.
Yeah.
where they wouldn't have if he was in Florida, including
Right.
his son, my uncle, needed some surgery and could not make the trip to Florida. So he basically got to see his dad again. So that was the
Awesome.
point of the trip, right?
Mhm.
And this is what I hate sometimes about the legal system is like you could be arrested for something probably, but yet, you know, it was worth it to me to
Yeah.
see his sister, my aunt, you know, be able to see her brother one last time. So, you know, if somebody wants to arrest me for that, then I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
Our thought was when we get to Michigan, it was funny. My dad was like, we need to have the same story. We all need to align, right? This was straight up Ocean's 11. We're having this conversation over Oberon pizza and some free wings because they burned our pizza. And we're like, yeah, I mean, this is what is happening, you know. And my dad's like, okay, we got to get our stories right so that we all line up. So therefore, he's like, let's pick a city that's like south of Michigan, or just past the border, and that's where he died. You know, and I'm like, well, I don't, you know, number one, doesn't that look weird if we all like call out the same city? Like, because when I'm driving, I have no idea. I know where I started, I know where I ended. I have no idea what's in the middle. So what I told him is, okay, if he does die on the way, like you drop me and my cousin off, and then you take him to the hospital by yourself, and that way there's less people to. Or I said, I'll take him. I don't care. Somebody needs to take him, but one person, and then we don't have 3 people in the car.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah, so we did there was a lot of this, like, it's kind of nuts. You think like, oh, Jim went and drove his grandpa across the country, but you didn't see, like, my dad had his first Red Bull experience, which was amazing. So afterwards, after we got, you know, at the funeral, my dad's telling people, I had that first Red Bull. Wow, those things wake you up. I felt so awake. Okay, here's what happened. They gave my dad a Red Bull, and he went, oh, which is what everyone does when they get a Red Bull, right? If you haven't read the Red Bull marketing story, because I'm a marketing nerd, you kind of need to look that one up. But he had his Red Bull, and he's like, oh, it tastes terrible. He's like, but wow, I feel really awake. And I'm like, sweet. And so it was my job to sit next to him and make sure he didn't fall asleep. And then within 20 minutes, he starts doing and he started following the white line on the side of the road. So he started like going off of every single exit ramp, and I'm sitting there like, do I touch the wheel? I don't want to startle him. How do I? And then he'd like correct and come back in the lane. And then the next exit, he'd like go off the exit, and again, I'm like, and then he'd correct. So I was so freaked out. So he's like, I got to go to a restaurant and go to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. So I woke up my cousin in the back. And I'm like, hey, I've been up 30 hours at this point or something. Can you drive? Because you were just on sleep duty. You know, we were like rotating.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I can take it. And so my dad came back and was like, oh, you're gonna drive? Oh, cool. Because you know, I was gonna drive. I was gonna keep going. I'm like, no, you're not. So anyway, he didn't know. The point was, he told everyone else at the funeral, like, oh yeah, I felt so awake for hours. And like, no, you got like 20 minutes, and then your head was on the steering wheel practically. It was great. It was pretty crazy.
Did y'all video any of this trip? Like, I feel like this could have been a movie.
Should have. You know what was the best part though? I got a picture. I don't think I've shared it, but I may. It was the most popular picture at the funeral. So when we picked up my grandpa, and this speaks a lot to, I don't want to be mean, it speaks a lot to the hospitals. In the hospitals, he wasn't doing very well, and they had his glasses, but we never even wanted them. So when they gave me all of his stuff in the hospital, they gave me his glasses. I put them in the glove box. No, my dad said he's not going to want them. He hasn't asked for them in weeks. He doesn't care. So as I was talking to him, my grandpa kept saying things like, I can't see this, I can't see it. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably bright. Did you have a window in your hospital room? No. Oh, okay, cool. So, but then he's like, no, I can't see. I want my glasses. Oh. And so we put the glasses on him, and it was so cool. He was reading things. He was reading signs. He was like, oh, there are a lot of red trucks out today and all this. I mean, it was just like, it was so cool. I had 4 hours because I drove the first 4 to 6 hours or whatever. I had the first 4 to 6 hours sitting next to him. He remembered my kids' names and my wife. He was with it. We were talking. It was like an amazing time I wouldn't have got.
Yeah.
But as we're driving, he's like, I want a chicken sandwich. I'm like, what was that? He's like, I want a chicken sandwich. And he's like, I want a Burger King spicy chicken sandwich. I'm like, really, Grandpa? He's like, yeah, can I get a Burger King? I'm like, hell yeah, you want 5? Like, what do you want?
Yeah, right.
And so he said my grandma, Carol, he's like, Carol always wants it. She never gets one though. She says she always wants to split mine, but then she eats the whole thing. Which I think is funny because I was hoping that would go away after a while, but apparently that goes on through your whole marriage.
You know? Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but he's like, I want my own sandwich. I want my own sandwich. I'm like, sweet, like I'll get your own sandwich. And once you have it, you can have another one. I'll buy you as many spicy chicken sandwiches as you want. So
Yeah.
the nurse said, give him little bits so he doesn't choke. Okay, so my cousin is I'm in the way back. My cousin's in the middle row. I'm supposed to be on sleep duty. My cousin starts ripping little bits of the sandwich. I'm like, just feed him to grandpa. Now, if you've ever felt like served like little tiny bits of hot chicken sandwich, like directly into an elderly person's mouth, it's more disgusting than that cookbook. Like, I'm sorry. Anyway. So I could see my cousin start to like flake out. Like he wasn't into it. He couldn't handle it. So I'm like, switch seats, whatever. I won't do sleep duty. I'll take care of it. I'll feed grandpa. So I'm there like ripping up this chicken sandwich. Like I'm giving him the chicken bits and feeding him a little bit. And he's like, where's the sandwich? Like, give me the sandwich. And I'm like, oh, you want the sandwich bit? So I look, there's some lettuce on there, and I get a little bread, and I'm like, here, have some bread. So he's like, no, give me the sandwich. And I'm like, oh, like you're, so I'm like breaking off little bits. All right, here's your sandwich. What do you want? He's like, give me the sandwich. I'm like, oh, he wants the entire sandwich. Like, so I tell my dad who's driving, I'm like, can I give him the whole sandwich? Like, can he really handle the sandwich? They said to break it off into bits. He's like, the man wants a sandwich. Give him the sandwich. Like, all right, give him the sandwich. So we got all these pictures of my grandpa in the passenger seat in the hospital gown, like, on this sandwich. It was everyone's favorite at the funeral because that man enjoyed some of the chicken sandwich. The funny part was everybody's fine, so this is okay. He ate like half of it, and then he was just done. He had enough. He was done.
Yeah.
So my dad was like, "Hey, is that can I have the rest of the sandwich?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess you could have the rest of the sandwich." Like, sure, why not? Here you go. So I gave him the rest of the sandwich, and then as he polished off the last bite, he's like, "Ah, crap! They said Grandpa had COVID." I'm like, "Yeah, you can probably catch it via chicken sandwich."
Right. What's up, Gabe? Man, thanks for coming by, dude.
Anyway, so yeah, so they say it travels through air particles and fluid particles, and apparently chicken sandwich too. So now
But your dad didn't get COVID.
Who knows?
Yeah, right.
That's what, we had I know it's not a popular opinion, but we had a coldish flu thing run through the house a little bit ago, and I told the wife, I wish it was COVID, because if it was, like, what, 70% of us wouldn't even know. Like, I want the asymptomatic part.
Right.
Normal cold be asymptomatic. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think he ever got it, and I never showed any symptoms of 20 hours in the car, but maybe they misdiagnosed him, So
yeah, that's true. You don't ever know.
Who knows?
What's up, DJ? Thanks for coming through. I've got DJ on tomorrow. She's going to be my guest. Yeah.
He's up pretty good.
Yeah, it's a busy week. Yeah, I know, Alex. Like, this is the best lunch break I've had in a long time. Like, this is freaking epic. Yeah, this is awesome.
I feel like I need to make up the part about like where the hang glider comes out of the van and then takes it. No, you gotta have something else. It was good when the hospice nurse gave him over. It was funny because she gave me this like pile of pills. Like, here's a bin of pills. I'm like, what are they? It was like, well, this one's for motion sickness, and this one's for whatever, and this one's for like. Start writing these down and put them on a list.
Yeah, anyway, I know. He's got a lot of them. And I have cracked open a double yolked egg, by the way. I have done it. Yeah, whenever I had chickens.
You can buy like depends where you live, but doesn't that come with double yolks? Like every egg is a double yolk.
Really? I didn't know that.
I bought one once. I don't know. It can happen.
Okay.
We're actually talking about getting quail.
Really?
If you're a fan of quail, they're easier to take care of than chickens.
Are y'all going?
Are also like that big.
Yeah, like you'd have to have 3 dozen of them to feed your family.
Yeah, it's okay. You can do that. That can be arranged. They fit in like a bunny hutch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Huh. Anyway. I've never had quail eggs, and I've never really eaten quail. Well, I had it once at a Mexican restaurant. I didn't like it, but that was a long time ago. I might like it now. So you're going to eat them, or what are y'all going to do?
The eggs.
The eggs?
Yeah, I think it'd be for eggs. They are tiny, but apparently they're good. 1 in 2,000 chance of your home burning down. I actually had to pay extra for home insurance, which you probably have this too, because there's no fire hydrant like within a metric cubit of me.
There's what now?
There's no fire hydrant within like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
So
there are no fire hydrants. My house burns down, it's going all the way. Grab the banjo and run.
Hey, Beth.
Like I doubt you can only get.
Yeah, I'm in Texas and I've had them.
Yeah.
But I knew it was a double yolked egg before I cracked it because that sucker came out huge, like that poor chicken.
Have you seen like kiwi birds lay eggs? See, this is how the ADHD happens.
Kiwi birds?
Yes.
You know, you can put that up and share your screen if we
I don't
want the
think I
whole
want
world to
to.
see it.
I'm comfortable doing that. Oh my gosh. You almost should. You should go look at. Oh my gosh. Look at their skeleton. They're like all egg. They're like
Kiwi
80% egg.
bird.
Search for kiwi bird eggs, and the first Google image is like the skeleton kiwi bird with the egg in it. It's insane. They're huge. It's like almost the size. Yeah. The kiwi egg is 6 times as big. See, this is how posts happen. How many did we just come up with here? Like 1,000?
You talking about this image right here?
Yeah. Look at that. Amazing.
That's all skeleton. That is crazy. Yeah, I know, DJ. I put it on Do Not Disturb on my phone, but I forgot to shut the door and make sure that my neighbor's phone was turned down. So we get a lot of phone ringing.
Yeah.
Welcome to live streaming.
The kiwi birds have the biggest egg size compared to their body size of like anybody ever, forever.
That's crazy.
That's the official word. Yeah. One of the largest eggs in the bird world.
Yeah, look at this. Look how big this is in relation to this bird.
That doesn't look as crazy as the. Oh, what's that one? Go up one. Oh, like, I mean, that thing is all egg.
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh, go one to the left. That's amazing.
That one?
That is a
kiwi bird.
Kiwi bird. Yeah. So this is how posts happen. You may see one about a kiwi bird. You may see one about a six-fingered, six-toed individual. But that's pretty much, yeah, that's funny. People think there's more science to it, but it's really like just let your brain go free.
Yeah. I don't think there's a different way a bird lays an egg, man. I think it's
some
all.
Some lay them scrambled, some lay them poached.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we were all thinking, right?
Yeah, I know, exactly. I mean, human women have babies.
So the question is, are kiwi monotremes? You know what a monotreme is? Did you look at my platypus rap?
Monotreme.
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 Monotreme. They're called honorary mammals. That's interesting. A monotreme is an animal that has one multifunction hole.
Oh.
Better way I can put that. So you have one hole that does the work of many holes. That would be a monotreme.
All right.
So platypuses, platypuses, they are monotremes. So therefore they have one hole that just is their business. All business.
All business.
It's kind of like those trash cans that are like just put in the trash, the recycling, we dump it all out, it all comes in the same hole.
Right.
That's a mono trash can.
And I guess it would be like a two-way hole too.
That is did I stutter? I believe I said all function.
All function, yeah.
All function. The ins functions, the out functions.
Yes.
Monotreme. It's a unique feature in the animal world. Yeah. It's really efficiency, really, when you get right down to it.
It really is. Or is it out through the indoor, Eric? Like, which one is it?
I think it's just a door.
Yeah, it's just a door.
Door.
It's a two-way.
It's a yeah.
It's got a swinging
door.
Those
little swinging, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's the swinging door of the animal world.
Yeah, like the Batwing, old saloon Batwing doors.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I was scared of where you're going there for a minute. Birds. Yeah. That would be a feature. I don't know if there's anything special about the kiwi bird skin. I think the most fun thing, my goal, and the strategy with the fun posts. So I've done. It's funny because I played with all different kinds of posts and things. I love interesting facts. I think one of the things that just makes you an interesting person to be around or talk to when you just have like all this random trivia in your head. So part of it was an exploration just for myself, like just because I like these things and it's funny, and then how can you write it in an engaging way, which is fun. So in general, with LinkedIn posting strategy, I tell people to try to show what you do, not just tell. Because I could change my whole posting strategy, and I can write everything about why I care about the Oxford comma and why you should too, and proper comma usage. And
See, I grew up using the Oxford comma.
I use it nonstop, and when people edit it out, I put it back in, and then I put a little comment next to it in my Google Doc, and I'm like, "Don't touch that. I'm watching you."
Is Meg still watching? Meg, do you use the Oxford comma?
We've had some throwdowns on Oxford comma. There is a good Oxford comma Rachel Ray thing. I wish I could find it. It said basically like eats her, like cooks and eats her dog or something, because all right. Rachel Ray finds inspiration in cooking her family and her dog, because they left out the commas.
Oh,
like there are no commas.
yeah.
So there is what magazine is this?
Her family and her dog. Is it her own magazine?
No, was it? Oh, apparently it's a magazine called Tales. I'm thinking it's about dogs and not inappropriate. Yeah, there was a magazine called Tales, which I will not Google at work.
Yeah, don't do that.
It has her hugging a dog, but it says Rachel Ray finds inspiration in cooking her family and her dog, and they use no commas. So to me, I find examples like that. Rarely use the Oxford comma, and that's why I edit all your work and add it back in, Meg. That's my one complaint. Just pop it right back in. Yeah. But to me, that's why you should use an Oxford comma, because then you don't have questions. Octothorpe remains a mystery. I like the way you worded that.
That might be a post idea there, James.
Another one. I can't steal that. I got to let Gabe run with that one.
Yeah.
My saddest thing is when I find something interesting, or like when I find something I find humorous or insightful or whatever, and then you Google it and somebody already said it. Somebody smarter than you already said it.
Right.
And then you're like, I could have posted this if I didn't look for it. You know what I mean? Like I could claim it's mine as long as I didn't look for it. But now that I know it exists, now I can't do it.
Yeah, right.
Hate that. Yeah, so Rachel Ray cooks her family and also her dog. You heard it here first. See, Gabe's got the market covered.
I know, man. Like Gabe should be posting some of this stuff. Yeah. Interesting.
I never paid much attention to the chef's hat until Ratatouille.
Yeah, I haven't either. Well, dude, I've got to go because I've got to inhale some lunch before I go back to work. He said use them. He ain't gonna do shit with them.
I might use the hashtag.
The hashtag was a good one. Yeah.
I worked with a guy who I'd say has the most inefficient baby face possible. Like it's not. He has a baby face, but it's not effective. So he's really like in his upper 40s, but he looks like he's in his mid 30s.
Yeah.
You know, like a baby face, you're supposed to look like you're 20, right?
Yeah.
But he has a baby face, but it's like marginally effective. So that guy, he looks young, so we assume that he can use the lingo of younger folk, for example. But he'll be like, somebody wrote this to me. He'll be looking at his phone and be like, what's it say? Like #truth? Like pound sign?
Pound sign.
I need to correct him. It's Octonaut.
An Octonaut.
Octothorpe. Get it right.
Octothorpe.
Okay.
It's not a pound sign. It's an octothorpe.
Not a pound sign. Octothorpe.
Yeah.
Now we know. Now you can correct all the millennials.
Yeah.
All the little kids.
So instead of saying like #truth, we'll just say Octothorpe truth.
Octothorpe truth.
Yeah. So you're going to play us a little something before we get out of here?
I feel like I should. I play people on our show.
I think you should
I get
too.
nervous playing in front of people. I don't play much in front of people. Decent?
Yeah.
These headphones are not banjo approved.
No, they're not.
There you
Well,
go. It happened.
It happened. Yeah. And, you know, just so Alex just kind of knows that, you know, he did play. He did play on my live. I think he did play when he was on my live. He did not take his shirt off, though. We tried to get him to take his shirt off, and he wouldn't do it.
I want that.
Well, you know, he posted a video.
And he would be like, "Can you please take your shirt off?" I'd be like, "No, this isn't. I did already." He'd be like, "Remove the sweater skirt." And I'd be like, I did. Yeah,
I did. Yeah. He posted a video of him playing his guitar shirtless, and it took him several months to live that down.
You didn't go full naked cowboy?
He did not go full naked cowboy. He didn't.
I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think that should be his next one.
Yeah.
With the guitar just hung low enough where.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Not Chili Pepper style?
Yeah, just about almost. I think that's a thing, Alex. I think you should do a thing.
I think, yeah, that would either get you banned or put you in Hall of Fame, but one of the two.
Exactly. It might go viral.
Worth the risk.
Get 1 million views.
Cool.
Yes, that's
Didn't
exactly
play.
right. You play. Yeah, that's right. He did play. He rocked it
Wow.
too. He just didn't take his shirt off.
Wow.
We tried to get him to.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I have standards.
Yeah,
Even
I
though my
know,
cookbook, my taste in cookbook is
I was gonna say, but do you really have standards?
apparently I don't.
All right, y'all. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central, I have Rob Gilbert on. He just
Make him dance.
Yeah, I should make him dance. I told him that, or I said that in the post. Maybe he'll get some, give us some DJ action, kind of entertain us a little bit. And then at 7 Central, Nathan and I are going to be live with DJ 𝙏𝙗𝙖 we're going to bring Ending the Stigma back, just talking about the stigmas associated with felons and how we can break them. So tomorrow, 2 lives. If y'all want to come hang out with me again, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, man. James, I appreciate you, sir. This was like an absolute blast. I hadn't laughed this hard in a long time.
Good. I'm glad I could be there for you with my life. My average life. For me, it's just Tuesday.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what's so beautiful about it.
Awesome, man.
All right,
Thank you
man.
for the invite.
Yeah, you betcha. Y'all have a good one.